Now, let's talk about when business gets personal. Because yes, business gets personal, people. Sometimes business get beyond the range of business and gets very personal. Now, we've seen it. We've seen people react, they go crazy, they get excited, and they start doing a bunch of dumb stuff that they shouldn't have done. Now, not everybody in business is in it for the same reasons. Now, four friends get together and decided, hey, let's try this podcast thing out. Let's get in the podcast. So they was like, all right, cool. They wasn't doing anything. So one guy who wanted to do the podcasting was already making money. He already had his own show on YouTube, his own little platform. So he's saying, okay, I'm gonna build this other thing up from scratch, and let's try to make that into something. And from there, we could build what we need to build, right? That turns, and that flips into a whole nother situation. That flips into a let me go and build this podcast, with my four buddies. Now remember, he's earning money on his other channel that he got. He's making money, but he got partners over there. And the people that he's doing the podcast with are more his personal friends. So they know him the most. So he's leaving to go, well, he's not really leaving. He's still doing both at the same time. But this becomes a conflict of interest to the other parties who said, hey, we're sponsoring you to do this, but now you're branching off to go do something else and start a podcast. So it's basically like you're violating the contract and agreement that we came up with, and you're like creating the competition. You have a no compete in your contract, which means that you cannot go against your own programming. Meaning if you were to leave and go somewhere else, you won't be able to do the same thing. So he says it's not the same, and tried to legally change what the podcast would be, and says it's not going to be a podcast. It's going to be a roundtable discussion. And because he changed the format to a roundtable discussion and not a podcast show, a debate show, that's what he said. He said, well, the form we got here is like a debate. Here, it'll be more of a roundtable discussion. Now that changes the dynamic of it being a no-compete to two different shows. So he thought he outsmarted the company. They don't like it. They don't like they got to pay you to do a show that they feel you're going to be halfway in, 1 foot in and half checked out because you're working on this new show. So the partners he's working with, the money is starting to come in, but slowly. So while the show is picking up and all of these things and guests are coming in, they said we got to get guests on the show. So they got to put the guests in a hotel, get a limo for the guests. Guests want this type of food in their fridge when they arrive. They want to be pampered. So the guests will come and the show will do great. It'll do some numbers, but it's not really breaking the bank. So they don't really have sponsorship all the way yet for this show. But the show is taking off immediately, starting to get a lot of traction. So people start feeling themselves. And all of a sudden, it's like a Hulk Hogan leg drop. Boom! The guys are like, Where's the money? And they haven't put in any money, the friends. Only the guy who asked them to do it with him, he's the only one that's been putting up the money. The other one's just been working. So they're like, look, man, we've been working and this show is popping right now because of us. But he's like, wait, I'm putting up all the money. So he's saying equal splits? Because I've been this time. Y'all haven't put up any money. You ain't ask us for any money. I'd have put some money up if I'd known you're going to try to rob me. So now everybody's screaming about percentages. Right? Not realizing that the person that put up all the money, there would be no show. Nobody would have saw these people do anything if he didn't put up the money. And now they want parity with him and feel that they should get all the equal shares, which isn't right because they didn't have to do anything. They just walked in, did what they had to do, and go home. He's got to deal with all the numbers, the promotions, and everything. It's all on him. It kind of reminds me of a record company. Sure, like they said, hey, without us, there's no show. Well, a record company, there's no record company without the artists that make the records. Artists make the records, they make the songs, and they become big stars. But the people that make the most money is the person that put up the money. You know, Tom Cruise and Denzel, those guys are incredible. And they can sell all the movies and everything in the world, and they can have the biggest movie in the world. You know, Leo DiCaprio, Titanic, make all the money. Leo ain't getting all the money. The studio is getting the money. Why? Because they put up the money. Whoever brings the money is taking home the money. That's how it works. So why these people don't understand that when it comes to the podcast? Then disagreements start happening. People started arguing. And everybody was friends. Like my kids play with your kids type friends. Now that's all split up. Now it's my wife, don't talk to her, don't talk to them. Now they can't be cool no more. No more barbecues. Nothing. It's like they ignore each other and they live down the street from each other. So it's crazy. So now the dynamics change, right? You start seeing how it's playing out. Then what it do? It flipped one more time. Flipped to a whole nother realm. These guys start embarrassing each other on social media. Then the wives start fighting with each other about it and all this stuff. So now the wives don't even like each other. Then secrets that was being told that's supposed to be boy to boy started to leak out and was like, yeah, that's why for 2 years he used to sleep with this waitress that was over there and he moved her to Utah. Yeah, and you didn't know that. And all this stuff started coming out. And it was like, dude, you told your wife so she can go run that to my wife? Like, what a coward. You know, and it's like, that's not what real bros do. Even if we having a business dispute, should have never gotten personal to that level. So now, dude's like, I just got to put my hands on you as a man of a man. We got to go in the yard and just fight. And the guy's like, why? So you can put it on your channel? But if I kill you in the fight, then what? I go to jail. So why would I fight you? He's like, I'll sign a waiver saying that. He was like, yeah, again, same question though. If we fight and I kill you, I go to jail. Even if you approve it or not. You ain't approving me to kill you. And he was like, dog, why you keep talking about killing me? Like why is that the end all be all solution? Like, you really think it's gonna go that way? He's like, when I fight for my life. So I don't play no games. So if somebody fight me, they gonna be out of commission. And the guy was like, all right, say less. So I'm gonna pull up, we're gonna get it on, and we'll say less. It's gonna be that way. That's the way the fight wanna go. All right, let's let it go. So the wives came in there to try to break it up. The guy started explaining to his wife about the Utah thing, said it was all a lie. Told his wife 100%, oh no, this is a huge misunderstanding. This is a lie. They're making this up. So they said they're making it up. Yeah, it's a lie. I didn't fly no girl to Utah and all that. So she was like, I want to know who this girl is. He was like, no, this girl moved to Utah because that's what she does. Like, she had to go out there for work or whatever. She was a girl that used to be at the restaurant. Never messed around with that girl. Come to find out he did, but that's his wife. So he's trying to smooth his back to get his wife back in his corner. So right as that's happening, right, the wife who went and told that, the other wives got involved and said she's a no good hoe and started going through her whole thing about who she was before she hooked up with him and was, going through the whole gauntlet. So these two dudes about to fight outside in the yard, business partners and friends. Well, it used to be best friends. So the other guy who was the partner said, hey, we can't do this, boy. That ain't what we do. He's trying to break it up. And police are called. Things just start going left. Of course, they're not potting no more. And then the other one said, I'm suing you. And now everybody's fighting in court. So business can get personal. Should never get personal. Should be about business. But when you're dealing with friends and people in your neighborhood, this becomes a narrative that is hard to shake. And once it's hard to shake, it becomes a situation you can't get out of. So you want to always remember, like they say, stay in your lane. That's what you want to do. Stay in your lane. Make sure people understand the terms of the business before you get involved. Because if they get involved in something and they don't understand it, they blame you for it. So if you don't want that to happen to yourself, don't let it happen, period. Hey, what's up, bro?